Hello, and welcome to North Carolina State University. My name is April Dillon, and I am the Area 4-H agent for the West Region in North Carolina. About 8 years ago, I trained with Princeton Review and North Carolina State University to become a facilitator for the ACT test. NC State University collaborated with the Princeton Review to provide the ASPIRE program. ASPIRE stands for ACT Supplemental Preparation in Rural Education. It is designed to improve scores in high school students' performance on the ACT college entrance exam in order to increase the number of students pursuing higher education. As a high school student, preparing for college entrance exams like the ACT can be very difficult. Cooperative extension agents like myself and high school teachers have teamed up to offer courses in counties to prepare sophomores and juniors for the ACT college entrance exam through the ASPIRE program. The information that I'll be sharing with you today comes from the Princeton Review course workbook for the ACT, which is used for the ASPIRE program through North Carolina State University. Today, we will continue our conversation about how to improve your English ACT score. Remember that the English test gives you 45 minutes to answer 75 questions. There are 5 passages with typically 15 questions each. The questions cover a wide range of topics, including punctuation, grammar, and style. Think of the English test as an editing test. Your mission is to make each of the 5 passages as clear and as well written as possible. There is no order of difficulty in the placement of the passages or the questions. Today, we'll talk more about commas and how and when to use them. But before we do, I'd like to share some other helpful hints about approaching ACT English questions. First, get a clue. How can you use the process of elimination? First, know what the question is testing before you try to fix the problem. How do you know? Look at the answer choices for a clue. Let's practice this question. Albert Einstein, one of the greatest minds in world history, is known primarily for his research in physics. Let's talk about the answer choices. What does each answer choice have in common? The words are the same. Einstein, one of the greatest minds in world history. What is different in each answer choice? It's the comma placement. The commonalities and the differences among the answer choices tell you what the ACT is testing for. The correct answer choice here is C. You need a comma after Einstein and after history. This piece of information is unnecessary, which is also one of the other common rules we'll talk about in just a bit. You know the old saying, if it's not broken, don't fix it. The first answer choice to most of the English questions is no change, meaning that the original underlined portion is better than the other 3 choices. Don't be afraid to pick no change if you think it is the best choice, or if you have eliminated the other 3 answer choices. Let's take a look at this question. Einstein, like most brilliant minds, was also an eccentric who secluded himself from friends and family to conduct his research in solitude. Now let's look at the answer choices. What is changing in the answer choices? The words are changing. When the words change in the answer choices, try substituting those words into the passage to see how it sounds and fits. Answer choice B, was set apart by himself. Answer choice C, set apart. Answer choice D, settled himself. Try the changed words in the answer choices. Which sounds best? Einstein, like most brilliant minds, was also an eccentric who was set apart by himself, from friends and family. Einstein, like most brilliant minds, was also an eccentric who set himself apart from friends and family. Einstein, like most brilliant minds, was also an eccentric who settled himself from friends and family. Nothing is better than the original, so choose answer A. It is the most clear. No change is the correct answer for about 1/4 of the time that it appears. No cutting corners. You can't skip all of the passage text between the questions. Everything that is not underlined is correct as written, and you use it to help you make the underlined portions correct and consistent. Let's read this passage. Many years from now, Einstein's work in time, energy, and gravity continue to influence how space missions are designed. In this passage, the circle portion is a clue to the answer. Many years from now indicates the future tense. So which answer would keep the tense future and make the passage consistent throughout? Will continue to influence. The correct answer is choice D. How does that sound? Your ear can be a valuable tool, but don't rely solely on what sounds right. Standard written English is very different from the way we speak and write in everyday life. Take our Southern dialect, for instance. Let's look at this example. Princeton's faculty opened their arms to Einstein. What type of noun is faculty? It is a collective noun, which makes it singular. What answer choice is consistent with a collective noun, a singular noun? There is plural, so A, no change, is incorrect. B is also incorrect. Why? IT apostrophe S means it is, so B is also incorrect. And D, obviously, the arms is incorrect. Answer choice C, its, without an apostrophe, is correct. Don't forget, IT apostrophe S does not show ownership of it. IT apostrophe S stands for it is. So let's go back to our earlier conversation on Tuesday about commas. Comma and a fanboy can be used in stop punctuation with two complete ideas. A comma can also be used to slow down two ideas in go punctuation. A third way the comma is used is in a list of 3 or more. In a list of 3 or more things, there should be a comma after each item, including before the and. There usually isn't a comma at the end of a list. Let's look at this example. Select what you think is the best answer for this passage. The teacher may use pictures, mime, and objects to build her students' vocabularies. How would you change the underlined portion of the passage? Select your answer now. Let's talk about it. The underlined passage contains 3 or more things, so there should be a comma after each item, including before the word and. So this rules out no change. You do not need a comma after and so rule out answer choice B. You do not normally place a comma at the end of a list, so rule out answer choice C. Answer choice D is our correct answer. The fourth rule on using commas is before and after unnecessary information. A pair of commas or a pair of dashes around an unnecessary idea is like a short, pleasant detour. Admire the pretty scenery and then get back on track towards your destination. Let's take a look at this example. Select what you think is the best answer for this passage. An instructor can also employ context. She may, for example, wave to her students as she enters the room and says, "Hello." How would you change the underlined portion of the passage? Select your answer now. Let's talk about it. In the answer choices, comma placement is changing. So determine if there is a reason for a pause and why. Do we need the information, for example? No, we don't. If you take out the words, for example, does it change the meaning of the sentence? No, it does not. Therefore, it is unnecessary information. And commas should be placed around it. If you answered D, you were correct. So don't forget, as you're looking for clues in your answers, if commas are changing in the answers, remember the 4 reasons to use commas on the ACT. Before fanboys, as stop punctuation, as go punctuation, in a list of 3 or more, before and after unnecessary information. If you can't cite one of these reasons, don't use a comma. There are a few other things you should know about punctuation on the ACT. There is also a half stop. A yield sign sometimes, but not always, requires you to stop. Similarly, half stop punctuation can only come after a complete idea, but can be followed by either a complete or an incomplete idea. Half stop punctuation includes the colon and a single dash. Let's look at this example. ESL students find 2 types of English expressions particularly difficult to master: idioms and slang. Do a vertical line test to determine if you have complete or incomplete ideas in the passage. What comes before the vertical line? It is a complete idea because you have a subject, which is students, and a verb, which is find. What comes after the vertical line? It is an incomplete idea. You only have the subject. Which answer choice can you eliminate right away? We can eliminate A because the semicolon is stop punctuation, which can only link 2 complete ideas. We can eliminate B because this is not a list of 3 or more things, and you would not use commas here. You can also eliminate D because you would not have a comma after idioms because there are not 3 or more items. The correct answer choice is C, with the semicolon coming after the complete idea. Let's try an accept, least, not question. Use this trick. When a question asks for the wrong answer, cross out the accept, least, not. Then mark each answer choice yes, or no. The one that is no is your correct answer. Once again, we'll do a vertical line test to determine if you have complete or incomplete ideas in the passage. Our vertical line is outlined in red. What comes before the vertical line? It is a complete idea. What comes after the vertical line? It is also a complete idea. How does the answer choice A change the idea after the vertical line? Adding the word because makes the second half incomplete, which would make answer choice A correct. So we would mark it with a Y for yes. How does placing a semicolon at the vertical line affect the passage? A semicolon can connect two complete ideas. It is stop punctuation. So that would make B a correct answer also. So we would mark B with a Y for yes. How does adding a period in answer choice C affect the affect the passage? A period is also stop punctuation, which can join two complete ideas. So that means that C is also a correct fix. So we would mark it with a Y for yes. Answer choice D uses a comma to separate two complete ideas. This is incorrect. Only a comma and a fanboy can connect two complete ideas. So, if questions that ask for you to identify the wrong answer confuse you, remember the trick. Cross out except, least, and not when asked to find the wrong answers. Identify those that are correct with a yes and no with an N. Your no answer will be your correct answer. Punctuation is not the only road sign to look for. When you see words that can influence the completeness of an idea, the most common ones are conjunctions, question words, and words that end in ing. When you see one of these influencing words, check the middle of the sentence for non-underlined punctuation and use the vertical line test. Let's take a look at this sentence. Does it use stop, half stop, or go punctuation? This process of immersion can be frustrating for students. Forcing students to use English to express their thoughts expands comprehension and fluency. So we'll do another vertical line test. At the vertical line, there is a comma. What comes before this vertical line? It is a complete idea. What comes after the vertical line? It is also a complete idea. So which answer choices can we eliminate right away? We can eliminate answer choice A because you must change it because a comma cannot link two complete ideas. And we can also eliminate answer choice B because eliminating the word process just doesn't make sense. So now let's look at answer choices C and D. Both fix the punctuation problem, but which one makes more sense? Do the two ideas before and after the vertical line in the sentence agree or disagree with each other? They disagree. So we need to use an opposite worded transition. So the correct answer is D, which uses the opposite worded transition, although. That's it for English today. Remember the 4 reasons to use a comma. With fanboys, as stop punctuation, as go punctuation, in a list of 3 or more, and before and after unnecessary information. Also, don't forget what to do when the number of words in the answer choices change. Try the shortest answer first. Look in the middle of the sentence for non-underlined punctuation. By participating in an Aspire class, you can learn the latest tactics and strategies to improve your ACT score. This program is open to rural high school sophomores and juniors and includes 30 hours of ACT course instruction where students will learn the skills they need to tackle the ACT. Students also receive the Princeton Review ACT Study Manual and the Princeton Review 1460 Practice Question Manual and access to 4 ACT full-length practice exams with score analysis and breakdown. If you have questions or would like more information about the Aspire program, you can contact Bianca Glaze, the North Carolina State University Aspire Coordinator, and you can also contact me, April Dillon, Area 4-H Agent for the West Region. I'm happy to share today's slides with you or answer any other questions that you may have. You can contact me at abdillon@ncsu.edu. Good luck!